Dying Light 2 is a great step forward from the first entry with bigger storytelling and great side quests that do not waste your time. And of course, action-focused parkour gameplay that will never leave you bored. Hello guys, welcome to a new Ace Ice video, and today we're reviewing Dying Light 2. How does it perform? Well, I'm here to tell you. Let's take a deep dive into Dying Light 2. Dying Light is a PlayStation 4 title, and you can still see that on next-gen consoles. That doesn't mean though it's old, though. Far from it. There is a great lighting system and a dense open world that is a spectacle for the eyes to behold. What I love about the world is how lively it is for a post-apocalyptic type of game. NPCs roam the rooftops with stories of their own, and down in the streets are the gangs and the zombies that will kill you on sight if they spot you. And I can promise you, they will. The sound of Dying Light 2 is good, though it doesn't really jump out as extraordinary in any way like other games do. Hits with your weapons are punchy and with good animations and impact. There is some good use of sound when you are parkouring around the city though. The music can intensify or lower down depending on how well you do in your gymnastics around the world space, which is a great attention to detail, and it enhances the flow of the gameplay that the player will perceive. The game did launch with some bugs, but I'm pretty surprised how much got fixed of it in the day 1 patch on my PlayStation 5. I probably only had 2 visual bugs throughout my whole experience, which is pretty great. So if you see any technical issues from other reviewers out there, keep in mind that this will probably already be fixed in the day 1 patch. But there can still be some bugs, especially maybe on PC, even though it's real-time patched. That's what Techland claims. But in my experience on PlayStation 5, it was pretty good and smooth. I had no frame drops. Only 2 visual bugs, which is pretty fine for a open world game in my opinion. Dying Light 2's biggest strength on gameplay is the parkour system, which probably isn't a big surprise. Dying Light was already known for its really cool parkour system, and it returns here in a really cool way. You can jump, slide and wall run almost everywhere you wish, and it makes for some exciting gameplay. Some complain that it's a little bit too flowy, and that is true, but it really isn't a deal breaker whatsoever. Most of the time the game did what I wanted to do. If I jump on a certain ledge or on a certain rooftop or climb down, I didn't really had any issues where you would clip through another object, for instance, and the game would not go where you wanted it to go, but I really didn't have any of these issues whatsoever, so it's fine in my book. I also love the tense zombie following action scenes. The night gameplay is really fun, and it gives some extra danger for the player that needs to be careful of how to do an approach different for its objectives. It's a little bit less dangerous than the first game, and I think that's actually a good thing, because most people were scared of the night gameplay being a bit too tedious, while now it's better balanced. The AI is also pretty smart. The enemies will flank you and try to attack you in different ways. The combat system is not the best one out there. It's a little bit easy, and the bow is really overpowered. If you shoot headshots, most of the time it will kill your enemies on sight. But first person combat is pretty hard to do anyways. So It didn't dilute the overall experience for me, but don't expect this as a great combat system or anything. It's just, it's there and it serves its purpose pretty well. But with all the positives, there also comes some negatives. I am not the biggest fan of the progression system in the game. Forcing players to upgrade their health and stamina through exploration is not a great idea, especially if you want to do the main storyline and you don't want to do any side activities. And it would have been a better idea if the skills were unlocked this way. But health and stamina are a bit too important to just leave out. Luckily, they do give you enough resources in the main storyline to upgrade your health and stamina. But I would have liked to see, I've seen this just not there. And if it was for the skills, like optional things, this would have been far better. But don't lock main upgrades things, especially in an RPG. This is a zombie open world RPG, and not that the game is difficult if you do not level up, but I wouldn't lock main progression through side exploration.
Hey, what guy?
Quit pretending. You became a pilgrim to track that fucker down. Waltz, I found someone who knows him.
The story though is pretty good and far better than Dying Light 1. Which is just pretty bad in comparison. What I really love in Dying Light 2 are the side quests. They are actually interesting and well written for the most part. Taking some notes from The Witcher 3, which is great. Even its fetch quests, there is always a narrative angle to it in some way that makes the world feel more alive. It's not just like, hey, I have this rat problem, go kill all the rats, come back and here's some money. No, there's a character and he has or she has a problem and you have to choose some dialogue options. You go there, something happens that you do not expect and it resolves in a way that you do not expect. And it is far better than the shall I say normal design of side quests, so really props up from me on that front. I also really liked the different characters that you meet throughout the game. Hakon, Lawan, Aether, Frank, Juan are probably the most notable ones, which I really enjoyed. They are all colorful in some way, or they have their own problems, and they aren't cookie cutter. When it comes to its world design and Dying Light's characters, that is just all really well done. However, there are some plot holes in the story that didn't really make sense, as well as some dodgy performances. Luckily, these are only small instances. I appreciate the ambition more than the story in the first game was, and they try to do more, which is for me more important than that some things didn't really added up in the end. If you play the game, you will see what I mean, but what they try to do, in my opinion, mostly succeeds, which is really good. There is also a little bit of bias throughout some of the different factions that you will meet that didn't really sit well with me in the end. I believe that there are only 3 big main factions, and they advertise this consequences and story choices. And the thing is, there are a lot of story choices and consequences there, but they do side, if you want a good ending for instance, they do side towards one faction without spoiling anything, and I do thought that was a little bit disappointing.
Hey, you guys want to hear a joke?
No, where's Bowski? Fuck, please.
I'm begging you. I'll give you my last clean pair of undies if you spare us another one of your jokes.
Overall though, Dying Light 2 is really a step up from the previous game. While it does make some missteps on some of its narrative and progression system, Dying Light 2 is still one of the best open world zombie games that you will find out there, with great parkour gameplay and fascinating characters and world building that will be fun for hours. Our final rating for Dying Light 2 is an 8.5 out of 10, with a skill score to 8. Now, did you guys enjoy this review, this Ace Ice review? Let us know in the comment section down below. And leave a like on this video, that would be really cool. Maybe comment what you did agree on or didn't agree on the review. And maybe also check out our socials, that would be pretty good. And the website aceice.com. And we will see you guys in the next video. Bye.